put petrol in the, pay the price and put petrol in the car.
Yeah.
You understand? So, the, and I go and, I try not to drink it, but we,
the water.
we just, the tap water is absolutely deadly, poisonous.
Yeah.
But
Peter just got a letter in the mail today about they're going to put fluoride in the water up here.
It was very
That's already here.
Oh, it's already?
Fluoride and fluoride and chlorine and everything else in the water here is deadly poisonous. But
Yeah, that's right.
casino, he might be talking about casino.
Yeah.
He's done something in the past and they didn't have before. But we've got to do it here. But I can pull all that out in seconds anyway.
With
Make it disappear. Alright, so, but that doesn't mean anything anyway, because now if you tell them that and if they think that you're doing that, they're going to come down to a ton of bricks because they paid a lot of money to put it in there.
Yeah.
You understand? For a reason.
It serves no useful purpose. It doesn't do anyone any good. It has nothing whatever to do with tooth decay.
No.
Quite the opposite, actually.
And it doesn't knock out bugs and germs out of water or anything else.
No.
It just is a poison to you. It's money making.
The funny
So
part is
why-
that actually all came about years and years and years ago after the Americans developed the atomic bomb. It was known as the, not the Philadelphia experiment, think of it in a minute. Philadelphia experiment was making the destroyer disappear from radar.
That's only radar.
Yeah.
It never disappeared from anywhere.
No, that's right. They just
Didn't go anywhere.
changed the resonant frequency so you could see it.
A resonant frequency, say their radar couldn't pull it up, but their
Right.
stealth stuff's doing that now.
Yeah,
It's
that's right.
nothing different.
Yeah.
And you watch a stealth, they
Yeah.
turn invisible, so you can't see them, and neither can the camera.
No.
Okay?
Yeah.
They just change the field effect on them, and you watch a stealth when it takes off and goes up in the atmosphere over its wings, creates this flaming great big over-the-top cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere else is not, this white cloud. And then, if they leave the cameras on long enough, the thing starts to disappear. Because it sets up a resonant frequency that you can't pick it up.
Yeah.
You understand? But they're using aluminium for that.
Yes.
The aluminium and everything else is put into water. What for? Well, it's not for flocculating. They tell you that's what it's for, but they put into dirty water, smelly water and everything else, and you don't have the dirt and the smell so much. That's aluminium, right?
Really?
So, where is it? It didn't drop it out.
No.
What it did was it turned it invisible and locked it in. You understand? So, America knows and everything else that they got way back years and years ago. Hitler had it and everything else. Aluminium, put a right kind of field onto it. Mate, we can fill you up with aluminium plates right there now. Put a frequency onto the aluminium, you wouldn't be there.
No.
What?
You'll be there, but we can't see you.
Yeah, sure.
We'll see straight through you and we see the building beyond. We can't
What?
see you.
Really?
They know about that.
Thing.
They've known about that for donkeys since
Yeah, they've done all that before.
way back the First World War. and
Jesus
everything else,
Christ.
yeah. Mate, Hitler had quiet imploding aeroplanes, no motors,
Yeah?
things like that. He had invisibility, he had flaming Volkswagens run around the desert when your petrol wouldn't fire. That's why they put lead into it. Now, he had Volkswagens run around the desert and everything else, and he was running them off air.
What?
No radiators, no nothing. He run them off air. He
And
just changed.
he had anti-gravity too, didn't he?
He had anti-gravity. Yeah. That made England, America, even probably Australia. And
What?
Australia and everything else got anti-gravity devices. They're called IFOs. Because people know what they are. They're not UFOs, they're IFOs. They have people inside them.
Yeah.
People have seen them.
Yeah.
Right? They've landed there. The people are hopped out. They've known about this right back through the wars. Right?
Really? They had it way back then?
Hitler had them.
Jesus Christ.
Hitler had flying saucers too.
Imagine what kind of technology they have now, Joe, that they're not telling us
Look at your
about.
stealth. You want to look at it? Your stealth bomber will come out in your war, 1991 war, right? Prior to that, everybody was hidden away from Area 51 in Nevada. Okay, they said it didn't exist, actually, on your radar or your maps. Okay, yeah, not supposed to be there. Okay, people were out there watching from a long distance and everything else, and they were watching these craft in the daytime and nighttime and everything else, and they were all believed that they were alien spacecraft, right? I don't believe in aliens at all.
You don't?
Not at all. Not in a pink flying flip do I believe in aliens out
They
of
must
space.
exist.
They do not. Anyway, that's your view. You can have your own view. I don't believe in it. Now,
Okay.
what happened was that everybody was believing that these things, they go up, they shoot around, they go speeding fast, and then they disappear. They do all this. They think, oh yeah, alien spacecraft, alien, phooey. And then, 1991, they brought out the alien spacecraft and blew all these people to pieces in the Gulf War. And now it's called a stealth. It's man-made. All they're stopping it from doing in front of you now is disappearing. But it disappears.
Yep.
It loses its heat.
Yep.
Which you want to talk about your magnetism, electricity, frequencies, fields and everything else, sound waves and everything else. The stealth, its frequency taps in to get rid of magnetic fields, takes away any sonar, because they just shoot out there and it doesn't hit and bounce back from its metals. So these things here just either absorbed or travel through. That's what's called stealth as such, right? So they can't pick them up. Now it's that fast and everything else. They've gone before you can pick them up by sound, by heat, by metal, by any damn thing, by magnetics, by, radar, sonar, anything else that we know of. They've changed the frequency and wipes them all out. But that's pretty simple. It's really simple technology if you sit down and think about what effects are doing things and then the opposite side of those. So scientists teach you for every action there's an opposite equal reaction.
Yep. So
what is the opposite of hitting something with a sonar beam and bouncing it back like, your bats, flying foxes and everything else. So that's what they use to get around at night and everything else.
Yeah.
What is the opposite of actually hitting something and bouncing back because it's solid? Is it knowing that anything can absorb a frequency? So all this is they've made a frequency what seems to hit something and then reflect back off it. So it now puts a pattern form out there that they can pick up by not looking at it, at you, but they see this image. Okay?
But if the frequencies perfectly match, you can't see them.
Yeah. You see, your magnetics, they're not teaching you now and everything else. Some are doing it, some aren't. But they told us that our magnetic fields actually come out and go down and under the bottom. So it looks like, a big... So that's not right.
You see that in every book.
Okay, and all that is, that magnetic field coming out of there is tapping into iron filings. So it's not between the field, it's between the field and the iron filings. And what they've now found out a fair while back, and they're not teaching it all the time, is your fields without the iron filings there is doing figure eights. It's going through, and your Earth and everything else has, your magnetic fields are in your Earth as figure eights. So the thing is that you want to walk up here and think you're going to go to the North Pole direct. If your magnetic fields are actually doing a figure eight, you're going to be walking you're going to have to head out there. Then follow the magnetic curve. You understand? How did they find the North and South Pole, the centre? They didn't. They never got there. As they come up to it, right, the fellow's got, this is how your magnetic fields change, and you can walk through polarities, right? So the first guys are in base camp and they're thinking that the North Pole's up there, and South, whatever, right? So they get a compass and they start walking. Now, a compass is supposed to go there. Now, if you turn around this way, the compass is going to turn around and still aim that way, right? Yeah? Feel it. When they started walking up towards the North Pole, and something like that, this is what happened. And they're still watching this, and they end up back in there. Hey,
that's my steps already.
I'm back at base camp. So they shook it, the damn thing turned around. They walked through it and it didn't change. It never moved, it stayed in front. But it walked in a curve. Now they did it again. So the second time they do it, you don't do the first thing again. There's all these alignments of numbering system that you go through. So the second time they do it, this is what happens. Because they're in a different direction, and a different charge. And they end up, we're back at base camp. So they shook it, and the damn thing turns around and heads back to there. So then they move over. You understand? And each different one, this is what they also found as well.